I will have earned my energy drink today. So what is the secret to cinematic shots? Really, there is only 3 rules for this: composition, shutter speed 180, and color grading. People think it's actually pretty straightforward to get a beautiful shot for YouTube, and I'm gonna say it's like playing the piano. Once you know it, technically, it's easy. But there are huge steps that you can do to make your content look beautiful, engaging, and tell a story. Firstly, I want to talk about steps you can take to actually make the footage appear cinematic. The first thing you can do is control your shutter speed so that you can get a beautiful motion blur between frames. Freewell have kindly sent me a bunch of goodies to help demonstrate that in this video, 2 of which I'm currently using right now. ND filters, neural density filters if you like. Oh my goodness me, a tree has fallen. Effectively, ND filters behave as sunglasses for your camera lens, and that's quite necessary on the Osmo Pocket 3 and on the Osmo Nano. Currently, on the Osmo Pocket 3, I have an ND32 and Freewell's 1/4 black mist filter, so everything should be appearing pretty glowy and a beautiful motion blur. There are a couple of rules when you're using ND filters, and that is on a super bright sunny day, you're going to use an ND64 approximately. On days where there's half sun, like this, the sun is starting to set, and it's a little bit misty, it's not a clear, bright, sunny day, I'm actually using an ND32, and it goes all the way down to ND8 if you just need a little kiss of shutter speed reduction. ND filters are hugely important for the 180-degree rule when it comes to shutter speed in video. Now, the 180-degree rule is essentially, if you're filming, let's say 30 frames per second, you want your shutter speed to be double that, 60 frames per second. So for this, you need to shoot in manual mode and select 1/60. And if you're shooting any faster, you're gonna want double your shutter speed. And for the 180-degree shutter speed rule, it is important that you use multiple different types of ND filters to get the look that you want without overexposing your image.
Freewell kindly sent me several ND packs for both the Osmo Nano and the Pocket 3, all of which I am using today. They're affordable, magnetic for the Pocket 3, and great quality for their price point. If you want to grab your own, I have a link in the description, and I would highly recommend checking them out.
Next is color grading. Now, color grading is the artistic part of changing the colors of a scene to match the vibe that you want to portray. So for example, as this sunlight catches me, I could turn it orange and autumnal, or I could make it icy and a bit alarming, or I could make it black and white, like a flashback. Why am I in the woods? Color grading can be subtle changes, but it can also be something like putting an LUT over a video in order to make it broadcast ready, especially for something like YouTube. And quite often you'll see on short form media, things like Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, people will use very, very, very dramatic, vibrant shots, or vibrant colors, should I say, in order to really sell that eye-gasm when you see that content. If If you would like me to explain how I achieve my color grading, I would love to do a separate video on that, so sound off in the comments if that's something that you're very interested in. It will be a little bit more studio-based, I believe, rather than out and about in the wilderness of España. The art of color grading very much is that. Sorry, there was a cloud of gnats. Ugh. Very much an art. Next, we will talk about composition. How is something composed to look cinematic? Putting your camera down somewhere is a very important aspect of learning what makes an image more pleasing to look at.
And it doesn't have to be complicated either. With this shot, I simply used the rule of thirds to place the tree on the left. The ground is about a third of the way up, and I framed myself looking off to the open right. This, I think, isolates both myself and the tree as points of interest, almost showing that this area of the woods is empty, when in fact, it isn't. It's full of trees and bushes and paths, but a good thing to remember about composition is that sometimes it's about what isn't visible rather than what is.
Now, you could very well say, or ask, why bother? Why bother with any of this? What does it matter if I use a specific shutter rule or if I do color grading to tell a story? In a world where so much user-generated content is just ready to go straight out of phones, and in some cases straight out of cameras, I do think people are buying a lot more smaller digital cameras these days in order to actually have a very specific aesthetic to their work. You want to stand out. I use these little rules and tools to really add to what I'm saying in my story. What a delightfully odd little flower that was. I have never seen anything that looks like it has feathers, but is quite clearly a flower. Is this one of them that's just a bit older?
Ultimately, these are just a few of my methods I use to create a specific feeling in my videos. And I hope that these have helped you today. Beyond using these specific rules to make the footage as elevated as possible, it really is just a case of practicing your artistic eye. Remember, no one starts out as an expert. So even if you only end up liking 1 or 2 of your shots, you are doing great, and it's good to remember that. Maybe in the next project you will like 4, and after that, who knows, maybe it'll be your best work yet. Let me know if any of these tips have helped you, and I will see you in the next video.